Hey guys, so I'm down at the dock here with Rika today. This is the last day that our boat's going to be in the water because we're getting ready to head up to the Washington 360. But before I tore it down, I wanted to kind of go over the rowing rig that we have set up here because it is pretty cool. We have modified it quite a bit to meet our needs, and I wanted to talk about some of the things that we've done and discovered while we've created this rowing setup. So we played around with a few different ideas at first. We even tried a Hobie Mirage Drive, which is those little flippers. That did not work so well. And that kind of ruled out also a bicycle drive, which is a lot of the same motion, that sort of over and over again. So we decided that a rowing rig, I think, would be the most effective. And we actually took some rowing lessons to learn how to row correctly. And we even put a coach rig on the boat at the dock to see if it would like move the boat correctly, and it seemed to do it. So what we landed on is this is called the RowSup. It's meant for a paddleboard, which is obviously much closer to the water. So the geometry of that, you can think about it, is the oars would be going much more straight out. Now if you lift that up, now the oars are going to come down more like this. So that was the very first thing that we had to figure out. So to manage that, to get the oars to lie lower, we did a few things. We've got this 1-inch aluminum bar here as a cross beam. This is just sitting by friction here. We've got a few pins, just quick release pins here to put that together. Previously we had it on 2x4, which is a little bit higher. The other thing that we did is we lowered the rowing arms here, and we did that by two ways. So we moved all of the spacers to the top end. We moved the rowing cradle here all the way in, and then the biggest thing is I created a spacer under here to basically rotate the whole arm down closer to the boat. And all of that did successfully lower it, so the rowing angle is much more at our belly instead of up near our shoulders here, which is especially important for Rika, who's a little bit shorter than me. The caveat of doing all those modifications is that the oar sleeve was then in the wrong position. So I actually popped the oar sleeve off, moved it a little bit higher up to send the oars further out. I extended the rowing end of the arm here as much as possible to create longer oars, but I actually also rotated the feathering angle slightly back, because as we rotate it down, that's going to change the angle that the blade's coming in. So if it's here and then you rotate it down, it's going to be there. So I had to rotate the feathering angle back. I actually gave it a little bit more feathering angle than I was probably supposed to, because when thinking about being on choppy water, I want the blade to skim across the water. I don't want it to have to punch through waves. I want it to just come up and out of the water very nicely. And so far it's worked really well to our advantage. The other thing I've done, I've chopped off the end of these rowing foot sliders. I think number 1 was just the right amount, and I glued it in place. All of these quick release bolts, I've added a lanyard to all of them so we don't lose them. At the back end, I screwed in a screw here and created threading into the tiller arm here. So this is locked down, and again putting a lanyard on this so that we don't lose it when we're getting tossed around. Finally, some spacers over here so that it locks in, it doesn't roll at the back. And the other thing that we found is making the boat row straight was actually really hard. If you saw us on our first day out here, you would have laughed, because we were just like going in circles. We couldn't get the boat to row straight. So our first mistake was that we kept the tiller out of the water and just tried to row with no tiller and no centerboard, and that just, it doesn't track. Next we tried with a centerboard down. I'm like, oh, the centerboard should drive us nice and straight. Did not work. It just wanted to spin around there. So then I'm like, well, let's try the tiller down and see if I can figure out how to lock it in place. And that made a huge difference. But what I quickly realized is that because we have so much freeboard that's exposed to the wind, and the balance of the boat, depending on what side people are on and where the gear is, the boat never really wants to track straight, so we can't just lock the tiller in one place. We need to be able to change it. So this is my impromptu remote autopilot, I guess. So you can see it here. So you put it down in the water, you tension that up. You've got pulleys going back. This is a custom tiller arm here so that we don't hit the back of this. And then if I'm rowing, I can adjust here. It comes back to a pulley back here, or the other person sitting here can actually just reach in and steer for the person rowing. So the person rowing is the engine, and then we've got the helmsman here that can just make fine-tuning corrections. And it's really surprising how sensitive the system is. Like literally just turning a millimeter this way or that way can get the boat to be doing a fairly obvious turn. So managing that, and as the wind comes up, just adding a few ticks one way or the other. And overall, we're really happy with how this is set up now. And we just improved this bracket here, which was taking a lot of wear. This is not a stock seat. This is an NRS raft seat. This is much more comfortable. Tiny little backrest on here, and much more padded. So sitting here 3-6 hours a day should be manageable. So that's the setup. It's gone through a lot of iterations, and it's not perfect, but I think we've worked out a lot of the problems in the system now. So we'll see if it lasts the entire race. See you out there, guys. All right, got Rika here, Cheshire Cat all set up minus the mast, and we've got our new mount for the Hobie Mirage Drive. So let's have a quick look. Prototype.
One.
Got a little tether on here. We've locked it down with some bolts there. So we've got the basic box and then this strut holding it on, and then on the back, 2 pieces sandwiching the stern crossbar. So we'll test it out, see how fast we can get it going, see how much work it is. Doing 0.6 knots. My heartbeat was 140 there, so you know, not negligible. Want to probably be around 120. Of course, I have no cardio right now. So you're doing 1.6.
That's probably as comfortable as I can get right now.
Yeah. Hey guys, so I wanted to show a little bit about some of the other rowing rigs and propulsion rigs that we researched in the preparations for the Washington 360. So this is our initial spreadsheet. We had some propeller drives, the Hobie Mirage Drive, the RowSup, but this is what we landed on, Alden Sup rig, oarboard, and the row wing. One of these actually, I think the rowing rigs doesn't exist anymore. So there's just not much of a market for a lot of these things. This is RowSup that we eventually went with. I liked its solid construction. Aluminum's good, very durable, handles salt water well, and it folds up really nicely. Like these 2 arms come apart and just folds in. So it's a nice clean design that I thought would be rigid enough. This rowing rig, the row wing, this would be good. It would be more for like a monohull. You see there's no cross beam in the back, so I wanted something that's going to sit flat on a catamaran. So that's why we look more at SUP type rowing rigs. So the other one that we were close to getting is the RowSup, which is a competitor for oarboard. So you can see it's more like plastic and thinner metal parts. I don't know, this could have been good too. It's hard to tell, you know, you can't really try out a lot of these things. So who knows, maybe this is a better product, but what we ended up seems to work and it folds up nicely. So that's what we went with. when we were looking at the Hobie Mirage Drive, we were also considering propeller drives like this and other ones. They're obviously very compact, but I just don't know that for our catamaran that would be the best way to move it forward. Limited range of motion, so maybe more issues with sort of repetitive motion, and I don't know about gearing. So the nice thing about bicycles is as you get up to speed, you can change the gearing, whereas a lot of these are just sort of a fixed gear for one slow speed. So looking up what is more efficient, rowing or bicycling, a bicyclist outputs about 100 watts per hour, whereas a rower puts out more about 200 watts per hour. So it's just a more powerful motion that's transferring more energy into the water. So that's another reason that we decided to go with rowing, is just to find some sort of method to propel the boat that's going to be fast, but also that we can continue to do all day. So we're not going to be Olympic rowers or Olympic bicyclists. This is something that we need to be able to do like we're basically walking somewhere. So that was kind of the goal there.